And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to another episode of Player Life. It is Tuesday, the 31st of May here in Tokyo, Japan. What is good? What is up? Um, yeah. Man, had a pretty crazy weekend. In a good way. In a good way. But game wise, it was good. Yeah, good times indeed. Um, Yeah, man. The abundance mindset. The abundance mindset. Boom. Yeah. So I went out on Saturday. Um I was just running some errands, doing some shopping, and I was about to go home, and I saw this really I was walking towards the station, and I saw this really sexy girl wearing this really short, tight little dress. and I was just she walked right by me. She didn't give me any. I think she saw me, but she didn't like look at me or like she didn't give me any not even one iota of an indicator of interest. And but I don't, like I always talk about. I don't I don't wait for indicators of interest. I don't really believe in them. I don't think women know what they want. They don't. Women don't really recognize your existence until you put yourself in front of them. Like they don't care. Like they're just in their own little worlds. Like I've talked about it before. Like if you if you sit beside a girl in a wherever, in a coffee shop or in a on a train or wherever, look at her phone for a second. There's a high probability that she's probably gonna be looking at photos of herself. Like women, like I don't know. My point is they're not really aware unless you put yourself in front of them and engage with them. They're not really aware of like what's going on. Like they don't. Yeah, they're solipsistic. They kind of think about themselves a lot. It just is the way it is. Anyway, like I said, no indicators of interest, but she was sexy as hell. And I said, yeah, why not? So she walked by me. I doubled back, walked up beside her. And one of the main things about, by the way, today's episode, it's about how guys overcomplicate game. And the thing is, game is not complicated. It's very simple. It's like there's no, it's not about what you say. I always say it's not about what you say. It's about how you say it and how you hold yourself and all that. Game is like done before you do the cold approach. You put in the work. You work on your fitness, your fashion. You get your money up. Like game should be easy then, like because it gives you that confidence. But I walked up beside her, and one of the things I always do when I'm approaching chicks, when I'm talking to them, like when I'm trying to get their attention, and this is like, it's just all you have to do is go up to them and just put yourself in front of them and get their attention. A lot of girls are going to be wearing earphones, so a lot of guys will like say something and then they're not going to hear it, and then like it's going to be all awkward, and you know they're going to take out the earphone. The guy's going to be speaking too fast, and the girl will be like, what did you say, what do you want? Even if that's the case, if a girl is like interacting it with you, that's a good sign. But um it's just important at the start just to take it slow, like slow it down, like so I always just go up to a girl and say excuse me. A lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time I'll just say excuse me, because like like I said, like 90% of girls are going to be having their earphones in these days when I'm doing cold approaches. So I always like get kind of like, not like I don't get in front of her and block their path or stop them, but like I make sure that they see me. So when I'm walking up, if I'm one of the most common approaches I do when I'm doing cold approaches is like on the street. when we're walking. So I always like get one or two steps ahead and look over, not crouching down like looking all weak and weird and creepy, but looking over, get their attention. Try and get their attention through eye contact, but I don't want to be like too like creepy, like looking over for a long time. No, I'll look over, see if they're gonna look back. If they don't look back, I'll just like wave at them. This is if they're wearing earphones. If they're not wearing earphones, I'll say, "Excuse me," and she'd be like, like it's like sometimes that's enough. That is enough interaction to know that they don't want anything to do with you. Like, because sometimes girls will just like they have no earphones in. You're saying like you're trying to get their attention. They can see you. You're speaking to them, but they're not responding. In this case, that's all I need to know. Like, as in not responding, that they're not even giving any body language. Like, they're not even smiling. They're not. That's when I'm like, I just peel back. I roll out. It's just you don't need to continue in an interaction like that. Um, it's just it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time and effort. Because I just run the numbers in my head. Like, out of all the out of all the success stories, out of all the times I've gotten laid from cold approach and day game, all the times the girl needs like they'll if you're gonna have a chance of getting laid with them, they will give you something. There will be like I'm talking about the initial like approach when they first see you, when they first start, when you first open them. They'll be receptive in some way, shape, or form. As in, they'll say something, or they'll even if they don't say something, they will at least smile or smirk or do something. So it's like it's very easy to understand when you don't have when I can really understand exactly when I don't have a chance, like when I know that she's not willing. The girl has to be willing to give you a chance. um yeah, so the girl has to be willing to give you a chance anyway. So this girl, she was wearing earphones. So like I said, I always like if they're wearing earphones, I take it calm, I take it slow, right? So like I'll wave over, I'll say excuse me, and then she'll be look back. Maybe she's kind of confused. She's wondering, is are you talking to her? And you say excuse me again. Then they take out their earphones, and then you say, hey, my name is Mac. I just want to say I like your style. I think you're really hot, or you're really beautiful. You can start with a compliment. It doesn't need. It can be anything really, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving a compliment at the start. It's kind of like, this is what I'm about. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not trying to like, no, I'm like, giving you a compliment. Um, you know, um, so I think that's what I did. I think I complimented her dress. I said, "Oh yeah, I really like your dress." I actually think I said it's really sexy. Actually, yeah, I did. So like right off the bat, I said, I got her attention. She took out her earphones. That's a good sign. That's her being receptive. Because a lot of girls like they'll just like straight up ice you out, ghost you, they won't talk to you. So she's taking her earphones out. She's kind of smirking or smiling. So I knew this girl. She's gonna be receptive. So I said, "Oh, I really like your. I just want to say I really like your dress. I think it's really sexy." And she said, "Oh, thank you." And then I knew immediately she was willing to talk just by the way she was. So I continued to, ask her what she, I introduced myself, continued to ask her like what she's up to. I'm trying to establish is she free or not, because you always want to establish whether they're free or not, because you want to decide whether you're going to do an immediate date or you're just going to get their number or whatnot. Because, oh man, like it comes down to like the detail, the fine details of game, but because sometimes you can miss out actually on pussy, because like if you're doing cold approach, sometimes like girls will be meeting their friends or meeting their boyfriend or meeting a guy for a date. So if you spend too long like walking with them and talking with them without establishing whether they're free or they're going to meet someone, you're just kind of shooting the shit aimlessly with them. Sometimes you'll walk with them so much that you'll walk with them until the point where you arrive with the people that they're supposed to meet, and then you get cock blocked. Then you get cock blocked because maybe it's a guy, maybe it's a date. Has happened to me many times. Like, so, it might sound like an unlikely scenario. No, this does actually. If you do a lot of game, these kind of scenarios happen. And then you get cock blocked and you can't get the number, and it's awkward, and then you just wasted like 10 minutes, and it's annoying as fuck. Whether, but if you had been smart about it, you would have established what she's up to like sooner in the interaction. You would have you would have established that she's going on a date. She's going to meet a guy. So you just say, "What are you up to now? You got plans?" And then she'd be like, either yes, I do. I'm going to meet a friend. A friend. They'll say a friend. If they like you, if they're like interested in you, they'll always say a friend, even if it's a date. They won't admit that it's a date. They'll just say, "Oh, it's a friend." Um, if they don't like you and they're just shooting the shit with you, they'll say, "Oh, I'm meeting my boyfriend or whatever." So that's why you establish. And if they say they're going to meet a friend, you always like kind of go and try and get the contact as soon as possible. You just like, I mean, you don't need to say, "Oh, you're rushing" or anything, but like when you establish that they're going to meet a friend or a boyfriend or a date or whatever, you get their contact. Then you say, "Oh, yeah, let's well, so you're busy, so maybe let's have a drink sometime," and then you exchange the contact, and so then you secure the contact, and she goes off and does her date or whatever, and then you go and meet up with her another time. That's the way you do it, you know. So, like I said, if you don't want to get cock blocked. You don't want to put in all this groundwork and then bump into the her friends, or because even girlfriends sometimes will cock block, or the girl will feel awkward giving out her contact in front of her friends. So anyway, I established with this girl that she's free, um, and yeah, she was free. So I was actually on my way home, but I was also gonna, I was also very hungry. So usually I always say, um, coffee or drink. Don't take girls for like dinner or whatever. But like in certain instances like this, where it's like you're trying to kill two birds with one stone, as in like you're genuinely, I'm not gonna put off eating just because like I don't want to buy a girl dinner or whatever. You know what I mean? I was hungry, so I was like, yeah, fuck it, kill two birds with one stone. So I invited her to come with me to eat, and yeah, she was down. And the funny thing is, she wasn't even hungry. She had already eaten, so she said, "Oh, I'll just have a drink." So it's perfect for me. I ordered some steak, and she had a drink, and it was good. But yeah, I always say like, when you go on a date with a girl, you if possible, you always want to like sit beside them. You don't want to be sitting across from them. But so I went on a date with, I went into the restaurant with her, and we're seated at a table. And initially, just until at the start, she was sitting opposite, kind of in the booth on a seating area, and I was sitting on a chair on the opposite side of the table. And that's fine, just because I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat, establish some rapport with her, and then when I'm finished eating, I'll get a drink, and I'll sit around beside her like smooth, you know. So that's what I did. Ordered some food. She ordered a drink, and I ate my food, talked with her. So when I finished my food, you know, I just went to the toilet, and when I came back from the toilet, I just went and I sat beside her. I said, it's kind of, I said to her, it's kind of like an interview. I don't want to feel like I'm interviewing you. And she was, oh yeah, it does. So and then I put my arm around her. You're escalating. I'm not like, this is like escalation. I'm slowly, I'm letting her. Well, from the get go, I'm like, she knows that I'm not like trying to be your friend or anything. Um, but you have to escalate. Like, it's one of the most important things about, like, just seduction. Like, you have to escalate. You might think it's awkward, oh, it's too soon. No, you have to gradually escalate, and if you're not doing that, you're fucking up. That's how you get left in the friend zone. That's how she thinks you're a beta bitch. That's how she knows that you suck in bed. Like, if you're too afraid as a guy, if you don't get it, if you don't understand, like if you're too timid to like start touching a girl, start like escalating physically, she subconsciously knows, or that's telling her that, okay, this guy is not going to be that good in bed. Like, because guys that are know how to lay pipe, they know how to escalate too. They know they can read a woman's body language. It's all about being able to read a woman, read her, and like establish when it's kind of appropriate to do certain things. So I put my arm around her and I had my hand like kind of on her leg, and I slowly moved it up onto her thigh, kind of on the side of the butt cheek. And she was perfectly comfortable with that. And that was a nice escalation. But yeah, so um anyway, I spent we left the restaurant, and I was actually, at that point, I was trying to, I suggested she come home with me to watch a movie, and she wasn't down at that point. So I said, okay, let's go to another bar. Um, I took her to another bar. She was getting way more open at that point. I had already, physically escalated with her by, had my hand, on her thigh. Bear in mind, she was wearing a little mini dress. It was like tight, so I had my hand on her bare legs, kind of, gently massaging her leg while talking to her. Um, so by the time we got to the other bar, she, she was more open, and it was funny. It was funny, but, well, it was annoying. But so we get to the other bar. It's really crowded, um, and there was like there wasn't enough seating. But that was a good excuse to even escalate further. So I sat down on the stool, and there's no other seating. So I just put her on my lap. So at this point, so now she's this girl. She's sitting on my lap wearing a tiny little dress. So this is another escalation. So at this point, um at this point, like, she's sitting on my lap, and I just go in for the kill and start making out with her, and she's quite receptive. um but yeah, so she's receptive to that. And you know but it was funny because, like, she had I had a full glass of Coke, like, just like right in front of me, and she knocked it over, and the whole drink like went, like, spilt all over all over my, like, the full drink. It was just a full drink, went all over my pants. Luckily, I was wearing black jeans. But the funny thing is, I had just actually bought new jeans, so it was okay. I went I just went to the toilet and changed into the jeans I had bought um earlier that day. So it was all right. But yeah, not the real Carl in the house says, "Nice to see you back. Nice to see you, brother." Um, what is good? So yeah, I changed into the jeans, and I actually just threw out the old jeans. But yeah, at this point, the girl was kind of, to be honest, like she was getting a little bit tipsy. Um, so at this point, I'd already gotten to the point where I was making out with her in the bar. Um, but she's getting a little bit loose. She's getting like in a bad way. Like it was like, okay, this is like this is just I'm kind of my I would say I'm like having fun with her because she's sexy as fuck and we're making out, but I'm like I don't want to be spending too long. Like I don't want to be, you kind of going. I guess to a certain point where you're going around in circles. That's why you want to like take it to the next level, and the next appropriate level would have been to take her home. And then I established that she wasn't gonna come home with me. It was just I could just feel the vibe of her. Like she was even because I had already set, planted the seeds of her coming home with me, even right after the restaurant, right after we had eaten. She rejected that offer. Um, so, and then once I had spilled the drink on my pants, I suggested it again because, it was like, it was a perfect excuse. I was like, oh, we should bounce out, but she rejected that as well. So I just from what she was telling me, I was like, okay, this she's not gonna come home tonight. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Uh, that is fine with me. And so eventually, after you know, it wasn't we had escalated to the point where we're making out a lot, and she was basically telling me she was ready to go home. That's probably a good idea because she was getting. I would say she was getting borderline drunk. Bear in mind, this is like a petite Japanese. She couldn't drink for shit. I mean, she had a glass of wine in the restaurant and then like a martini, and she was already like getting. I would say, yeah, not fully drunk, but like borderline getting drunk and getting kind of like I just felt like I was having to manage her. Like I said, she spilt a full drink on me, and it was like, God, that was when I was like, okay, this is like I'm gonna try and wrap this up, like either one way or the other. Either she's coming home with me, or I'm gonna roll on to do something else. Because like I'm not gonna, you know, at that point, like what else are you gonna do? I had already escalated like with her. I already started making out with her. I'd already taken her to a restaurant and a bar. I so the next logical step would be to go home with her, but she wasn't feeling it. She wasn't like she wasn't willing to do that. Sometimes you're just not gonna be able to seal the deal, guys. Like you're just not like they already made up their mind. Like there's even if you can roll out all the game you want, they're just like so when you kind of like I don't want to call it a loss, but you kind of like you because you can damage it if you're too persistent, it looks needy, and I didn't want to look needy. Like I planted the seeds about the idea of her coming home to watch a movie with me. And then once she spilled the drink again, that was a perfect excuse to actually take her home because so it didn't sound needy. I wasn't like pressing her, but it was a very legitimate like reason to actually for her to actually come home. She rejected that, and that's when I knew that okay, this girl isn't gonna come home with me today. Because like if a girl was gonna come home with you, a lot of them would come home at that point. It was like a perfect like excuse, like plausible deniability kind of thing. Like she just spilled the full drink on my pants, like, and it was like a that would have been a perfect like excuse for her to actually come home, and she rejected that. So that's when I knew, okay, I'm gonna go and do something else. So she wanted to go. She actually wanted to go home too. So I took her to a spot, and you know we made out for a bit longer, and then we went our separate ways. I secured her contact. Maybe I'll meet her again. Maybe I won't. But that's just like, that was how the night started off. But at that point, I was like, you know, I was in the mood to get laid then, because once you once you get that, you've already kind of escalated with a girl and you get turned on. So at that point, I went to another bar that I know. Um, it's around midnight at this point, and then I met some friends of mine there. They just happened to be there. Um, and I went to kind of a bar club that was packed to the fucking rafters with hot girls. And eventually, I was just, sometimes like when you're just like, you just know you're going to be good. You just know it's about how you feel. A lot of being good with, being successful with game is about how you feel. Like at that point, I felt really good, like because you know I was uh, I was dressed pretty well because the girl spilled the fucking drink on my pants, but I had bought pants, had bought new jeans that I had in a bag, so I changed into them. I was looking fresh. I threw out the other jeans, so I was like, no, I just looked fresh. I was like dressed pretty well that night, and I'd already escalated. I'd made out with a really hot girl. I was like, I just kind of knew I was gonna get laid that night. I just knew it. But I was in the club, just like bouncing off people, like talking to a lot of chicks. Like, I think there was multiple chicks I could have taken home. But eventually I found a girl that was down. Um, took her home. Um, I think it was the yeah, it was yeah, took her home, and yeah, we had a good time. We had a good time. It was a lot less complicated with this girl. She didn't spill any drinks on me. She was Yeah, but it was a good time. I mean, man, I really love it when a girl gets so turned on that she says like, "Oh, like, you can once you do, like, there's a lot of foreplay with a girl. Sometimes the girls will get so turned on that they'll just say like, "Oh, I want you in me." I really like when girls do that. They're just like, "I want you in me," in a very sexy female voice. Obviously, I can't do it, but yeah. So that was a good time, and it was funny because then I had also gotten I had also gotten another like a lot of contacts from that night out, actually. And so that girl that I took home left, and then another girl that I had met out came over in the afternoon. So I banged the girl from the nightclub that I took home, and then another girl, like, literally was a home delivery. Like, and it's quite rare for a girl to like like a girl has to be seriously into you for her to like come directly to your house. And I guess like I had obviously met her out the night before, um but I hadn't I had I think I had escalated with her a little bit, as in I don't even think I'd kissed her. But yeah, she came directly to my house. I mean, there wasn't really much uh I didn't have I mean, escalation was pretty. It was just one of those instances where, like, there's so many different ways to escalate when you're like trying to warm a girl up and test the waters and see if she's that into you. But one of the biggest indicators that she's into you is, like, I mean, if she comes directly to your apartment, like after just meeting them the night before. So I mean, it was kind of established that we were gonna bang, even though we hadn't said it, you know. Um, he hadn't said, "Oh, come to my place to have sex." No, it was like just come over and chill. Um, it was kind of like that. So it was quite an indulgent Sunday. Yeah, it was it was interesting. Yeah, so I was very spoiled for chicks on Sunday morning and then Sunday afternoon. Um, another indication that she was like she actually brought like if a girl brings you like some present or some treats or something like that's a big indication that she's pretty into you. And this girl brought me these like fancy chocolates. I was like, damn, if a Japanese girl brings you chocolates like that, she's like, okay. She is like she is DTF. She is DTF. And she was. So I mean, like I said, there wasn't much like there was no complication with her when she came in. She came in. The fucking hilarious thing is like I actually this is how close it was. It was like the girl. It was like Sunday morning, so well well it wasn't morning. She came over in the afternoon, but I mean I slept in till lunchtime obviously because I was up banging the girl, the other girl from the nightclub all morning. So I literally just like I don't know. I had a shower. It was like 2 p.m. or around then, and the girl from the other girl came over at around basically I just gotten out of the shower. I was like, so when like I was just wearing like I answered the door and I was just wearing like boxers. I literally just dried off, put on my boxers, and I answered the door that way. So like I mean it wasn't like I mean she came in, she she gave me the chocolates and I just started like making out with her. There wasn't like any like resistance or anything. It's like I mean like I said if a girl that you met in a nightclub comes like to your to your place like the next day, I mean it's sometimes you just able to you get it. Like you understand. That is what game is. It's just understanding it's understanding when you need to apply all these like escalation techniques and when you can just you don't need to when you don't need to. It's understanding what's appropriate for each situation. Sometimes that wouldn't be wouldn't be appropriate. Sometimes you have to take it slower. You can't really dive in like that. You just kind of shoot yourself in the foot. Like I would lose out on so much pussy if I just like try to invite um every girl to my house. Like I would lose like so much. Like most of them wouldn't come. It would just be like, oh no, sorry, they wouldn't. You need to at least meet them somewhere. And then yeah, it's just that they're not going to be willing to do that. Danny Arnold says being socially calibrated. That's exactly it, my friend. You got to be socially calibrated and understand what works in certain situations. A lot of guys have trouble with gamers because they're not socially calibrated. They don't get it. They don't get when it's appropriate to do what. There's I remember a friend of mine was this is years ago, but it was back in Ireland. He was so unsocially calibrated. Really good looking guy, Chad could have been like could have killed it with game, but he was such a stoner, man. He was such a stoner, man. I mean, there's one thing that like I've seen kill men's sex drive. It's the weed. Um, weed really fucking kills guys' sex drive. Anyway, this guy he was a real stoner. But anyway, like even with game and nightlife, he would get a lot of it. Like he would get a lot of attention because he was a tall, good looking dude, like a Chad, like an Irish Chad, square jaw, all that stuff. But it was all laid to waste because he was so socially uncalibrated. Oh, it's so harsh to say, but this dude was like socially uncalibrated, didn't get it, wasn't able to read body language, wasn't even aware. He wouldn't even be aware that girls were giving him IOIs. Like, you know, girls would give this guy IOIs. I would take it in. I would be aware of it. So I'd see hot girls looking at him, and he would just be looking around. And I'd be like, dude, this fucking hot girl's looking at you. And he wouldn't like, he would maybe do something then, but then like, even then, you know, he'd go over, talk to her, and then he'd drink too much. And then like, the girl would clearly want to bang. Like, the girls would just be giving off indications that they're okay. Like, dude, you could take her home like immediately. And then he he would end up getting too drunk and then just not doing anything. I remember one time, like, he actually he he took a girl. Like, I basically, so what happened was, we're in the club. It was like kind of a bar club, and there was a hot girl giving him mad IOIs. I was like, dude, the girl's like mad into you. You should go and like seal a deal. Like, it's pretty obvious that she's like, she looks like she wants to fuck. To be honest, like the way she's like behaving, the way it was like kind of a dance floor. And he took heed, and he went and talked to her. And there was a few other friends, so we had a like a house party. And you know, we brought the girls back to the place. And I mean, the girl just clearly wanted to bang, and he just wasn't making any moves on her. um and eventually, like, I just got tired of it, and fucking I just made it, you know, because I was like, dude, if you're not gonna do anything, I am. Because, like, I mean, I want to bang. Like, so eventually, I made a move on her, and like took her up to my room and banged her. But like, I mean, that's sometimes you just gotta be savage. You gotta teach by demonstration. But Danny Arnold says, I've witnessed friends completely ruin their shot with a girl because of a lack of social calibration. That's it, man. That's exactly what my friend used to do. He's just like completely unaware of what he had in front of him, you know, just unaware, just completely unaware. Like, it's like a lot of guys don't know. It's like a lot of guys don't know how to escalate as well. You know, it's like they don't know the appropriate times to escalate. You know, they spend, one of the most common things a lot of guys do is they'll spend far too long on dates. They'll like way too long. Like, they'll spend like hours on dates. And it's like, I mean, yeah, you're just basically, you know, shooting yourself in the foot. Like, and sometimes girls will punish you for that. Like, it's happened to me before. You know, I learned by trial and error. You know, I learned the hard way. I learned, you know, but I know this. You know, so you could go on a date with a girl, and she could be open to the idea of having sex on the date. You know, or some girls come on dates like hoping to have sex with you. Like, this happens. You know, some girls do. You know, they do actually want to have sex. Um, so they'll come on the date, and if you're naive, if you're a blue pill fucking naive guy, you'll like take her to this nice restaurant, then you take her to a bar, and you take her this, that, and the other. And the girl's just getting frustrated and bored. When in reality, what the girl actually wanted, what would have been perfect for the girl, is if you just took her for a quick drink, and then you took her to this nice restaurant, and then you took her to a bar, and you take her this, that, and the other. And the girl's just getting frustrated and bored. When in reality, what the girl actually wanted, what would have been perfect for the girl, is if you just took her for a quick drink, and then you took her to this nice restaurant. Yeah, cut off there for a second. Yeah, guys will spend too long on a date, and then, you know, the girl, like, sometimes time, like, guys will spend so long on a date, like, there's just time will run out. So maybe he'll spend like 3 hours on a date or something, and then at the end of it, he'll make his move, but it'll be too late. It'll be like, the girl will be like, oh, I gotta catch my train, you know, gotta work tomorrow. At that point, the girl's maybe just like pissed off, like, because the guy didn't read the cues, or just he basically demonstrating that he's not socially calibrated. Um, you know, and yeah, some girls are like will punish you for that. And what I mean by that is that they will, yeah, they'll decide, okay, I'm not gonna have sex with this guy because he doesn't get it, or you didn't show enough initiative. Is as in you're not like you're if you invite a girl back to your place without having tried to escalate with her at all, she's probably not going to come. Like if you haven't sat beside her, started touching her hand, like that's where a lot of guys fuck up too. Is like they'll invite girls back to their place without having escalated at all. uh, yes. Danny Arnold says, I firmly believe in never getting more drunk than the girl. Definitely. I mean, I always say, like, you're not going on a date with a girl to get drunk. You're going on a date with a girl to get laid. If you want to go and get drunk, go and get drunk with your friends. But, like, when you go on a date, you're not there to get drunk. Like, it's like, because even if she does come back, you're probably not going to, like, I mean, you get hired, you might get whiskey dick or, it's like, it's not going to contribute that, you just don't need to get drunk. You can have a few drinks, whatever, but like the goal is not to get drunk. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely sober sex is definitely the best kind of sex for sure. Um for sure. But yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, the point of today's episode is just to say that, you know, just to reiterate that game is not very complicated at all. And most of the success that you have with women will be done before you do the cold approach. Like it's kind of done. It's already done. It's like you know your fashion, your fitness, you know your fashion and your fitness are what you know should give you that confidence. Give if you go out, I know that like it's a big difference, like in the way you dress and how you feel. Um, when I'm like dressed really well and I have a fresh haircut and I'm wearing some nice cologne, like it's just different. It just hits different. Like you when you're walking the streets, when you're like out, when you're doing cold approach, you just like there's just a certain you're gonna give off a certain vibe. you know you're gonna give off a certain vibe, and chicks are gonna pick up on that. You're gonna have a swagger. You're gonna have a swagger to you, and chicks like swagger. They definitely do. They definitely like a confident guy. So the better you look, if you have your own style, the more, just the higher, like the more receptive chicks are gonna be. They're just gonna be more receptive. Um, and that's just the way it is. You gotta really take pride in how you look. You really gotta have a look about you. 'Cause if you're kind of bland, it's not that you can't be successful. If you don't like, you know, because like sometimes if you don't look a certain way, if you don't have a look about you, chicks won't give you the opportunity to spit your game. You want to like you need to get the in. It's like I said, there's some girls you roll up to them, they kind of see you and they just like ice you out. You're not their type, you're not their style. Like there's girls I can roll up to, I can be looking my best, like I can be wearing my, feeling fly as fuck. But that girl just doesn't like guys with beards, you know. She's not gonna talk to me, she's not gonna give me the time of day. There's nothing I can say or do that's gonna change her preference. So it's like it is what it is. Move on to the next one. Water off a duck's back. There's no hard feelings. I don't care. It is what it is. Um, but yeah, today I'm going to be going out doing cold approaches. I'm doing a boot camp here in Tokyo. I'm going to be talking. It's the Tuesday afternoon here, so it's gonna be interesting. I like day game. I like day game at obscure times. I like doing day game because it's like it just hits different. It's like pure day game. I like the purity of it. Like the it's like the real it's like doing day game at this time. It always reminds me of this scene from Clockwork Orange. Great movie, by the way. But oh man, like I remember seeing that movie so long ago. Like I was like blue pill at the time, but I was so inspired by the scene where he like I think he skips school and he goes to the record store and he picks up two chicks like when he's supposed to be at school, so it's in the afternoon, and he picks them up. He meets them at an arcade or something or a record store. Haven't seen that movie in ages, but yeah. Long story short, he picks them up in the daytime while he's supposed to be at school. Takes the girls back to his place and has a threesome with them, and that's pure day game. That's like because doing day game and during the week in the middle of a working week in the afternoon, it kind of feels like similar. Like that's similar. You should be at work, but it's like it just feels like shit. I'm really free. I'm getting away with something I shouldn't be getting away with here. That's what I really like about it. Um, it's like you have the cheat codes to life, the cheat codes to getting laid. It's like everyone else slaving away, working their jobs, working their little office jobs. People got to do what they got to do. Got to put bread on the table. But yeah, that's the kind of day game I like. Out, midweek afternoon. You just like you got the cheat codes. It just feels better. It just feels like when you get it laid, when you like are successful with girls, um, when you're successful with girls, uh, if you get laid like from a cold approach on a Tuesday afternoon, midweek, like that's like that hits, but that hits different. That's like that's like pure, unfiltered day game, like pure, like it's like that's what I love about it. It's awesome. It's like most guys never experience that. They'll never experience it because they never like mostly because they never try, or if they do try, they don't try, like they give up too soon. They don't try enough. They don't like give it their all. You need to be persistent at it over a long period of time, and then you gradually start to figure it out, start to get better at it. um and a lot of the time it's just about meeting the right girl at the right time, right place. But definitely hits different. um so yeah, if any of you watchers catching this on the replay are out here in Tokyo, hit me up. I do boot camps here in Tokyo. Um, we can I can definitely show you how it's done. I've been doing it for years. Um, if you're not in Japan, I mean, I think Japan's going to be opening up for tourism in June. Um, so again, I mean, if anyone, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be wanting to come to Japan. Um, if you want to come to Japan, do a boot camp with me, or just get the whole experience, Tokyo experience, because I know Tokyo at this point like the back of my hand. I know I can take you to the best spots. I certainly know the city pretty well. I've been all over the city. Um, yeah, or you can all, if not, if that's going to be too expensive, if you're not able to come to Japan, consider booking consultation, day game consultation. I can fill you in on all the secrets. Like sometimes it's about conveying. Sometimes guys need to be told like how they're fucking up or what they're doing wrong, or what kind of situation. But sometimes it is about conveying the simplicity of day game, because guys overcomplicate it. Um, Danielle says tourism without the jab. I need to double check that. I heard this from a friend of mine. So I haven't. It's kind of didn't get it from the source. Have to actually Google it, but to figure out the details. But according to him, it was like he said tourism is fully opening in June. So I don't know the actual requirements. Hopefully not. Hopefully there's no jab required because I don't have the jab and I'm never gonna get the jab. Um, but yeah, like I said, gotta roll out as usual. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for rolling through, listening to this episode of Player Life. So until next time, peace out. Bye bye.